Frédéric Bérard is here, constitutional lawyer as well. Thank you for being on the program. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks to you. Salut, Guillaume.
What do you think, Frédéric Bérard, about this Bill 1, about the Quebec Constitution?
Well, actually, there's so many things to say. To start, I mean, having our own constitution is certainly a very noble and legitimate project. Each and every nation in the world aspires to that at one point, and we're no exception. But if you talk about constitution, you talk about common values. You talk about the basic of our societies. You talk about resembling people, making sure that we go in the same direction. And what I see from that Constitution project is far the opposite. I mean, there's no mention or so about the First Nation, which is quite a problem. They have not been consulted for real. That has been a real joke. And as for the rest, there's, in terms of content, I mean, there's many problems. And we see that this is not something that will get Quebecers together. This is something that will be used by Simon Jolet Barrette and the Legault government as a political tool during the next election to say, see what we've done for you. I mean, you have to vote for us now. And they're talking only to Francophones. They're not talking to First Nations. They're not talking to Anglophones. This is a very caquist project, and this is sad because when you're talking about Constitution, you need to have everyone around the table, and it can last for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. I mean, the time is of the essence here. We need to talk about it. We need to take our time. It took us 3 years to discuss in parliamentary commission if we have the legal right to turn right at the red fire in Quebec. So now we were going to adopt the Constitution in 5 minutes without consultation, which this is ridiculous, obviously.
It's not, I mean, it's not 5 minutes. You're using some hyperbole, but you are saying they're just rushing this through, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, forget about 5 minutes. We can talk about 5 months in the history of a nation is peanuts, right? And I do agree with Guillaume at one point that it's not only a matter of duration, but it's a matter of meaningful consultation. But what are those meaningful consultations right now? You're asking people, please come to parliamentary commission and tell us whatever you think. That's fine, but I mean, there's not so many people that would take their time, their energy, their money to go to Quebec for it. I mean, you have to do something around Quebec, go see people, a bit as Jacques Parizeau did in 1994 to prepare the sovereignty consultation. I mean, either you agree or not with the sovereignty of Quebec is one thing, but we need to give to Parizeau one thing. I mean, he decided to consult people, to hear what people have to say, and this is the same exercise that we need to do here.
Now, Guillaume Rousseau has been talking about the need for further input, and he says the government should be open to change here. So tell me what you would like to see changed, quite specifically.
Yeah, well, quite specifically is very easy. Section 5 of the Loi sur l'autonomie du Québec is certainly one of the worst and the most dangerous section I've seen in my life as a constitutional lawyer and constitutional professor. Because frankly, this section is saying Quebec institution has no longer right to ask for a judicial review if the law per se is considered as protecting Quebec nation. First of all, what is a law protecting Quebec nation? This is so arbitrary. I mean, this is so subjective. Put 100 people around the table and they will not have the same definition of what is a law protecting the Quebec nation, first of all. Second of all, what are the regime around the world that are preventing their people for judicial review? This is not a democratic regime we're talking about here. This is very dangerous. Judicial review is one of the funding of the rule of law, and the rule of law is the funding of democracy. So if you want to live in democracy, you need to have judicial review. And if you take a further look to Section 5, we're talking about public institution funding in a way or another by public money, but it goes beyond that because it said if the institution, the organism in French, receives their money according to the law, well, this could probably apply to union. And to be frank, I'm a lawyer of the FI, which is one of the biggest union in Quebec, but could also apply maybe to companies in the sense that what about the companies who receive subsidies from Investissement Québec, for instance? This is protected by the law itself. So all that to say that this is a section that is very, very dangerous. This is a frontal attack to the rule of law. And when you talk about attacking rule of law, you're talking about democracy. So this is one of the sections that I will start with and to withdraw from the project if, obviously, the Gouvernement Legault wants to have a serious discussion about it.
Just before I let you go, I want to make sure I understand one other thing. You started by saying that, for example, there's no mention of First Nations. And it seems to me, I recall there's some mention of Indigenous people in Quebec. No?
Well, actually, there's a mention of it, but what I was saying is that they did not consult them, except for one of the organization and a chef, a grand chef of the Atikamekw, if I'm right, which is far not enough. If you take a look to what's written within the project of the Constitution, this is less beyond what First Nation could expect. And there is no way in 2025 that we could adopt a Constitution without, having the agreement of the First Nation. We just spent like the last 10 years in Ottawa trying to create some reconciliation movement. You just can't decide just like that. This is what's going to be in, guys, and too bad for you.
Frédéric Bérard, I appreciate you coming on here today.
Thank you very much.